Hey everyone, this is Raga. Welcome back to my channel, and today's video is going to be based on all of your suggestions, which was about the UWorld question bank subscription, the self-assessments, and the NBMEs. But before I get into that, I would like to talk about two things to you guys. The first thing is I would like to thank all of you lovely subscribers for your very good suggestions of the upcoming videos, and I would like to say that that has really helped me decide on what video to film next and what video to post next. Please keep your suggestions coming. I already have a list of great suggestions from you guys which I'm working on to film and upload, and I would like to hear more of your suggestions for future videos. The second thing that I would like to talk about is about my last video, which was my step 1 preparation. I have mentioned this in the description of that video, but I would like to mention it for those of you who have missed that, is that for pathology, during my preparation for the step 1, I did it a little differently. I did not watch the Kaplan videos for pathology. Instead, I had watched the Pathoma videos, and I have to say that the Pathoma videos are so good. They are excellent for preparation for the step 1. For those of you who don't know what Pathoma is, they are a separate group of lecture videos that are created by a different professor. And I would say that the Pathoma videos really gave me a solid foundation for pathology for the step 1, and I was very happy with that. And an additional plus point that I noticed about the Pathoma videos was that when I compared the Pathoma videos with the lecture notes of Pathoma, they were exactly the same. So basically, the information that is mentioned in the lecture notes was exactly what the professor spoke about or taught in his videos. So I could confidently watch the Pathoma videos alone and not worry about missing out on any very important information in the lecture notes. So that's an additional thing I wanted to mention to you guys and give you guys a heads up. So now coming to the content of this video. So I will firstly talk about the UWorld question bank subscription and the self-assessments. So when I was preparing for both my step 1 and my step 2 CK, I knew for sure that I will be studying for at least 3 months or more for each of these steps. So I decided to go for the 3-month subscription for the USMLEworld question bank. Now they have all kinds of packages that you can choose. They have the 1 month, 2 month, 3 month, and even more. And you can even decide whether you want the self-assessments to be included with that package or not. And based on that, it will vary in its cost. Now, I did a small calculation at the time to decide what type of subscription I should take, and I realized that it was more cost effective if I had taken the 3-month subscription with the self-assessments and then extended by 1 month each time if necessary, rather than choosing a 1 month or 2 month subscription initially and then having to buy or extend the question bank for 1 month each. And obviously, I would suggest that you include the self-assessment with your packages. For the Step 2 CK, when I took it last year, there was only one self-assessment. I'm not sure if that's changed now. But for the Step 1, there were 2 self-assessments, and I chose to take both of those self-assessments in my package. I know the UWorld question bank can be quite expensive, and especially for a medical student or a fresh graduate who is not yet earning, it can be quite expensive, but I would say that this question bank and these self-assessments are worth every penny. So if you can afford it, I would say go for it. And with regards to the self-assessments, now the self-assessments come with 4 blocks each. So if you are doing the Step 2 CK and if there's only one self-assessment, you can take all the 4 blocks in one go in the same sitting, like you are taking the actual exam, sort of to mimic the actual exam. Or you can take, a block and then take the next block at another time. But what I did and what I would suggest to you guys is to take all the blocks at once, just as if you are in the actual exam, so that you get a feel of how it feels to do one block after another with a very short break in between, and you will know how it feels like when you start getting exhausted towards the end or towards the last few blocks. But when you do the Step 1 and you have 2 self-assessments, what I did, and again what I suggest to you guys, is to take both these self-assessments back to back. on the same day at the same time. And the reason for this is then you would have 8 blocks that are put together, which is pretty much very similar to what is happening in the actual exam day. So you will have 8 blocks that you take in one stretch, and because in the exam day, and I will talk about this in my experience videos, exhaustion plays a very important role on how you perform in the exam. So initially you will be fresh. So for the first few blocks you will be very fresh and you'll be able to answer the question promptly, be able to think clearly. But towards the end you start getting exhausted, your mind starts shutting down and you feel tired, sleepy, hungry, and you're not as productive as you were at the beginning in the first few blocks. So obviously you need to get yourself acclimatized to taking many blocks in a row. The great thing about the self-assessments is that when you launch your question bank, it does not launch the self-assessments as well. They are separate entities once you buy them. So you can take all the time you want to prepare with the question banks, and you will still have your self-assessment untouched. And when you decide that you are ready to take the self-assessments closer to your exam, you can just launch the self-assessment and take it from there. And I thought that that was great because I didn't have to worry about my self-assessments expiring before I can take them. Now, with regards to when to subscribe for the UWorld question bank, that's a question that some of you have asked me on YouTube and also through email. And that's actually a very important question because I have to mention that as IMGs, and myself included, we make a mistake of thinking that we should subscribe for the UWorld question bank closer to our exam date. Now, that's a very big misconception because the UWorld question bank, and I've mentioned this before, is a study tool. It's meant to help you learn and not to test you. So you should have the USMLEworld question bank simultaneously with whatever else you're studying from. So if you're watching the Kaplan videos of first aid, you need to have the USMLEworld question bank as a simultaneous study tool. So for example, if you decide to start studying for a step today, I would say the best way to go with it is to subscribe for the UWorld question bank within the first week of your preparation. The reason for this is when you're studying with the Kaplan videos or the first aid every day, you should dedicate a few hours in your day to study from the UWorld question bank and to be able to solve questions from UWorld and read the explanation. So you should be able to do questions from the USMLEworld question bank every single day alongside your other resources that you're using, like the videos or the first aid. This will not only help you get acclimatized to the type of questions that they ask and help you get more information about diseases and conditions, but it will also help you get used to the time that you have to answer the questions in a certain block. So since you'll be making blocks for yourself, whether it's 44 questions or 40 questions per block, mixed questions and timed, you'll be able to get a feel of how it is to answer questions in a short period of time. And that will be very helpful for you. And towards the end, when you're closer to your exam, you're gonna see that you're so used to answering questions so quickly and you've gotten used to thinking quickly and thinking on your feet. And I think that's the best way to learn. That's also a mistake that I had made when I was preparing for my Step 2 CK, which was the first step that I took. I subscribed for the UWorld question bank too late into my preparation, and I wish that I had more time to spend on UWorld. And I hope you guys don't make the same mistake that I did, and hope that you subscribe to the UWorld question bank as soon as you start your preparation so that you'll get the best benefit out of it. Now, talking about the NBMEs. For those of you who don't know, the NBME is an organization that provides you with a website where you can test yourself. So they have a number of forms with different numbers and for each of the steps, which will help you test yourself. Now, the NBME is purely a testing tool. It is mostly to tell you where you stand with regards to your preparation and about whether you're ready to take the exam or not. I will firstly talk about my Step 2 CK NBMEs because that's the first exam that I took. I took one NBME, which was the Form 7, about 5 weeks before my exam. and I took the Form 4 about 10 days before my exam. The reason I chose to do these forms was because I checked on USMLE forums and I was looking at the feedback that people were giving with regards to the accuracy and how difficult the forms were, and I made my decision based on that. So I'm not sure if the form names have changed now. If they haven't, these are the forms that I chose to do. With regards to the step 1, I had only taken one NBME, and the reason for that is I firstly had lesser time, or I felt like I didn't have time for 2 NBMEs, and also because there were 2 self-assessments that came with the UWorld. So I had an extra test that I had taken with the UWorld, so I thought that it's okay to take just one NBME, and I took the Form 17 10 days before my exam. Now, a point to mention about the NBMEs, you have 2 types of subscriptions you can take for each form. You can either take the $50 subscription, which will not let you know which questions you got wrong, but if you pay $10 extra and pay, that is $60 overall, you will get the subscription where they will even mention which questions you got wrong. Now, I should mention, they will only show you the questions that you got wrong, but they will not mention what the right answer is, and nor will they give you an explanation for the question. So the way you would do that is, if you see that you got a certain question wrong, you can go to USMLE forums again, where most people will discuss about different forms and mention about what questions came up and what answers they think are correct. And you can look at the discussions there and find the right answers. I would say it's great to go for the $60 subscription and know what questions you got wrong, because when I took the NBMEs, there were many questions where I was so confident of my answer and I was very sure that my answer was right. And when I look at the questions that I got wrong in the end, sometimes my very sure questions would be wrong, and that would really give me a reality check that there's something wrong about what I've understood about that condition or that disease, and I would go back to the forums to find out what the right answer was and maybe read up more about that topic to know why I was so confident about the wrong answer that I chose. So I would suggest that it is great to go for the $60 subscription if you can afford it, and do the forms and find out what answers you got right or wrong. So that's all I have to say about the USMLE question bank subscription, self-assessments, and the NBMEs. If there are any more questions you have about these topics or these self-tests, let me know in the comments bar below and I'll get back to you in the comments bar itself. And again, I'm mentioning in this video, if you have any new suggestions that you have for future videos, please let me know in the comments bar below, and I will try to make a video based on your suggestion or your topic of interest. And until I see you guys again next week, bye!